Hey rail fans, welcome. In this video I'm going to tell you about a mistake that I've made quite often so that you don't have to go out there and make that same mistake. Okay, so this is one of the mistakes that I've made, and it's one I've made a bunch, and I've actually made a ton of mistakes. And maybe I'll turn this into a whole series of all the things I've screwed up over the years in model railroading, because you can learn a lot from all my mistakes. But one of them that I've made, and I've even made this year, because I keep forgetting to not make this mistake, is to use my cutting mat as more than just a cutting mat. I end up putting this down on my workbench and cut my styrene on it, and then I end up leaving it there. And I start gluing things on top of it, I start painting on top of it, start doing all kinds of other things other than just cutting on it. And what ends up happening is over time then you end up with not only discolorations on it, but you end up with textures on it. And what those textures can then do, whether it is just a slight difference in texture or if it actually is a bump of something, like a drop of glue that leaves a surface deformity on it, is when you're using your straight edge, it can catch on those bumps that are there, those deformations that are on your mat, and cause you to actually have your straight edge in a different angle than what you think you've got it at, because it's actually been grabbed by one of these small little bumps that's on here. Okay guys, so after about 10 years of use, this mat is looking pretty sad. It's got lots of not just discolorations on it, but deformations, areas where there's glue dried on it. There's even some plaster or clay or something up in a corner of it that I don't even know what's from. But it is not a great cutting surface anymore, because all of those little imperfections that bump up actually end up grabbing the straight edge, and they interfere with me being able to put my project anywhere I want on here and put my straight edge exactly where I want it and cut. I end up having to slide the project around to find a spot that's going to work so I can get around these little deformations, because they'll actually grab the edge of the straight edge and actually pull it off or twist it or not allow me to align it the way I want. And so that's the tip, is don't use this thing for anything else but cutting. Just, you know, put your styrene down or whatever you're cutting, straight edge, X-Acto knife, cut with it, and then as soon as you're done cutting, go ahead and take this and move it off to the side and get it out of the way, so that you preserve this surface, this nice self-healing cutting mat surface that you have paid for, and you preserve it for that, and these will last much, much longer than if you make it a catch-all surface that is also a cutting mat and a blotter and a paint this, that kind of area that you're working on. Which is what mine turned into, and it's kind of messed up now. So that's the tip. Don't leave this thing out. Use it and then put it away. Of course, now the one thing with this, if you do end up messing this out, like I have, what do I have to do with this now? Well, I'm going to retire it. And the good news is, when I retire it, you got to go out and get a new one, and you can replace it. Instead of replacing with the exact same one, I'm going to replace it with this monstrosity of a cutting mat. And this guy, I'm going to put away every time that I'm done cutting. So when I'm finished cutting, this guy's going away, because I do not want to have to buy this one again. So hopefully you found that useful. Hopefully you can learn from this tip and not make the same mistake that I did, so that your cutting mat will end up lasting you your entire hobby, rather than a few years until you end up with glue and paint all over it like I did. So let me know if you like this. Comment down below if you want to see more of the mistakes I've made in the past that you can learn from. Let me know down below, and I can probably think of a few more out of the hundreds of mistakes I've made over the years. So with that, as always, keep running your trains, keep enjoying them, and we'll see you at the next update.